As a kid, all a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from everybody. Life lesson learned, I better learn from this bitch, nobody. She pushed me around, she didn't give no motherfucks about it. She broke my heart 3 times, but I ain't getting...
The Los Angeles Chargers were defeated by the Las Vegas Raiders 31-26. And this was once again another loss that was decided by one possession, that the Chargers were not able to come out on top with the victory. And you can't even blame Justin Herbert for this loss. He was 28 of 42 for 326 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and the most important thing, no turnovers. So Justin Herbert played an incredible game, a flawless game, that he didn't have any turnovers, and the Chargers still lost this game by one possession. And when you look at a team that struggles to win games that are close, that is pretty much a reflection on the coaching staff. Let me tell you something. The teams that can win the close games the majority of the time are teams that have great coaches, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody criticizes the Pittsburgh Steelers for always being in close games, but they're 8-0. Okay? Good teams are able to win close games. Bad teams with coaches that aren't good aren't able to do those. So when you look at Anthony Lynn, and you once again suffer another loss that is decided by a game that came down to one possession, you got to look at Anthony Lynn. You got to ask yourself, is the hot seat heating up? Because this could be another situation that once again the Chargers waste another franchise caliber quarterback like they did with Phillip Rivers. So if you're the LA Chargers and you're in that front office, you got to be looking at Anthony Lynn really closely. Because this is a team that right now could be in playoff contention. But since they can't win the close games, they're 2-6. And this is a football team that, although they're 2-6, they're way better than what their record indicates. But the reason why they're 2-6 is because they can't win games that are decided by one possession or less. So for the Chargers, I do think that a hot seat could be heating up for Anthony Lynn. Because there are a lot of coaches right now that could win those close games. That could look at Justin Herbert and the way he's played so far and be like, man, give me a crack at it. I guarantee I can get the Chargers to the playoffs. So for Anthony Lynn, that hot seat has to be heating up. And remind you that there was already a little bit of questions about Anthony Lynn concerning his job security going into the season. The only reason Anthony Lynn still has a little bit of leverage or why he should still remain the head coach for the Chargers is because, one, you have a young quarterback in Justin Herbert. And when you have a young quarterback, the best way to mess up a young quarterback is by going through several head coaches and by having several changes on the coaching staff. So the best way for a young quarterback to develop is by maintaining the same coaching staff and not going through several head coaches. Another reason why Anthony Lynn's job, why he can still say he deserves to be the head coach for the LA Chargers, is because of how he got the Chargers to the playoffs a couple of years back. But I mean, you look at the Chargers now, a team that can't win games that are decided by one possession. If you can't win games that are decided by one possession, then I mean, why are you even coaching in the NFL? Because majority of the games that are played in the NFL are decided by 7 points or less. This isn't college football when the best team wins by 2 touchdowns or more. Like in the NFL, teams, at best, if you're a team like Kansas City and you're actually one of the best teams in the NFL, at best you win a game by like 10 points or more. But even then, almost every single game in the NFL is decided by 7 points or less. So almost every single game being played every single Sunday in the NFL comes down to one possession. And if you can't win those one possession games, you're not going to have a lot of success in the NFL. So the Chargers lost to the Broncos a week back, 31-30, which was a game that they should have won. They should have beaten the Saints. They should have beaten the Las Vegas Raiders. They should have beaten the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Justin Herbert had a handful of turnovers in that game. But it's no excuse for why the Chargers lost to the Raiders. It was just a complete letdown. Justin Herbert didn't turn the football over at all, so you can't use that excuse. You can't say, well, Justin Herbert, you got to give him a little bit of the blame, JT, because he had a couple of turnovers. Like, you can't say that at all. He had no turnovers. He had no fumbles, no interceptions. He played a great game, and the Chargers still lost. So you got to look at that coaching staff. And the coaches that can't win these one possession games the majority of the time, they're not good coaches. A good example of that is Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia has been notoriously known for not being able to win close one possession games with the Detroit Lions, always choking multiple fourth quarter leads. Same thing with Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn with the Atlanta Falcons. They couldn't hold on to big leads and they couldn't win close one possession games. So when you have a team that can't win one possession games, that comes down to the coaches. And also, you got to give blame to the players. The players have to execute better. But the majority of the time, it comes down to the coaches. So, Anthony Lynn, I think that hot seat has to be heating up. Now, will he be fired at the end of the season? I don't know. Would I fire Anthony Lynn? I don't really know right now. I think it's a little bit too early to tell. I think I need to see a little bit more out of Anthony Lynn. I want to see if he can get this thing turned around because, I mean, you can make the argument say that, well, at least the Chargers are in games, which is true. But, I mean, almost every single team, no matter how bad they are in one-possession games. Like, look at the New York Jets, for example. They lost to the New England Patriots. That was a game that was decided by one possession. The bad teams in the NFL are bad because the majority of the times they can't win those close games. And in the NFL, almost every single game that you're going to play is going to be close. So if you can't win these close games, then why are you even coaching in the NFL? So I don't really know how I feel about Anthony Lynn right now. I'll be honest with you guys. You have to give Anthony Lynn an eyeball right now. His job security should be well in question. And when you look at the Chargers' recent success, they haven't really had any ever since that brief playoff appearance they had a few years ago in which they got smacked by the Patriots in the divisional round. So I think there is a little bit of concern when it comes to Anthony Lynn's job security for the LA Chargers. And it's a little bit unfortunate because I like their offensive coordinator. I like the quarterback's coach in Pep Hamilton. I believe that Pep Hamilton has been a really big support and why Justin Herbert has been so great this season. And I made a video in the offseason saying that Pep Hamilton being the quarterback coach for Justin Herbert is going to benefit Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. So if you get rid of Anthony Lynn, you're pretty much going to get rid of Pep Hamilton, a guy in Pep Hamilton who I feel has been really essential to Justin Herbert's constant development and growth as a rookie quarterback in the NFL. So you get rid of Justin Herbert, you're once again going to be bringing in a new head coach. And the best way to ruin a young quarterback is by bringing in multiple head coaches. Look at Marcus Mariota. Teams that go through several head coaches year in and year out aren't able to develop quarterbacks. So for the Chargers, I think there is room for concern to question Anthony Lynn's job security. And I do think that hot seat is heating up. Now, is this hot seat as hot as Matt Patricia and Adam Gase is? I don't think it is. But I do think it's a little bit hot. I think it's hot enough that when he sits, he has to blow on it. I think it's hot every time he has to sit down. He has to give a little bit of blow, a little bit of air on that thing just so that thing doesn't heat up completely. But if he keeps on with the Chargers losing these one-possession games, I think the hot seat is going to heat up. And I wouldn't be surprised if the LA Chargers end up making a coaching change at the end of the season if they're not able to get this thing turned around.